Alright, so we back on the job. We slowly getting ready to work on an accent, which will be 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch glass and stone mosaics, like you can see right now over here. And they will be installed over there. Our walls are partially done from yesterday. We're gonna also move forward with the first pieces of the niche. We're gonna tile the bottom part first and we'll let it set, so tomorrow I'll be able to continue with all the remaining pieces, because most of them will be supported pretty much sitting on the bottom piece. So this has to be done first and let it set before we move forward with the remaining section. Our accent will be framed with those pieces. Those are called pencils, 12 inches by 5/8 by 3/4, nicely rounded, so it's going to be used as a transition, because those tiles are very thin and it's very hard to impossible to build up those pieces to the thickness of the wall. As you can see, we have 1/4, 3/8 of an inch difference in the thickness, and those pieces has to go on a solid surface. We cannot put more thin set behind them and just start pushing them, because they will disfigure. There's the nature of the mosaic pieces. So one of the options is to actually build it up, the section behind, with the other tile, let's say thin board or something, and then just install those on top of this extra board or strip or something, so they kind of flash on the surface, because this is the goal, to have this flash. Or you can use those strip pieces, those pencils, to nicely frame the accent. So what will happen, pretty much, the pencil piece will sit nicely here, so the finished surface goes very nicely, continuing here, then turning in a round shape, and this piece actually will go directly on the tile board, making this perfectly flat. And then over here we have also rounded edge. So this piece help us to solve the issue with the difference in thicknesses, plus will give us really outstanding looking frame around the accent that will really make this nice small mosaic tiles stand out and will accent them nicely. So it's not only helpful with installation, but also adds to the look, I would say even a lot. Makes huge difference. So this will be done all over the wall, all the way around the walls. You'll see, I will throw some pictures from that part. Of course, we have to cut all the pencils in 45, and at the edges there will be continuation, so pencil will be cut like that in 45 degree, and then nice continuation to the vertical piece, and in the corners also 45s. Here 122 on this outside corner, and here we have also 45. We're gonna work on that. We shortening accent for 2 pieces to make this fit a little bit better. And yeah, so this is the next step when it comes to the accent, and I will also be working slowly with the niche. On the niche, the very same piece as we have over there will go on the bottom. Like that, and it will frame niche very nicely with the 45 degree cuts over here, and here we're gonna have a flat solid piece, one solid piece of travertine as our shelf, and then another piece separating this in the middle, and this accent tiles 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch on the back of the niche. So still a lot of work. We're moving forward little by little, and this is how it looks like. off those edges. This OG trim that will be finishing our seat edge will work as our bullnose. And what I did, I have a support piece temporarily attached to the bottom, to the front of the seat, and those pieces I'm gonna do first, actually, before installing the tiles underneath. Because the goal is to adjust those first to have nicely created ground joint over here, and then do the bottom pieces, because later bottom pieces has to be flush with this part of this trim. So the way it looks like, pretty much I have this supported. I'm gonna put those first, and then I can do the bottom nicely accordingly to this bottom piece. So this is pretty much how they're supposed to go, right? They're supposed to be nice and even here on the bottom, like this. So another part of the job, some trim work. We can definitely remove every wedge that we have, and pretty much it's not as simple as I expected, huh? Actually, yeah. This is our straight edge, came out nicely, and now we're gonna run our tiles right to this very corner over here. So this will be flush with the finished tile. So this is how it looks like. Our accent will be framed with those pieces. Those are called pencils, 12 inches by 5/8 by 3/4, nicely rounded. So it's going to be used as a transition, because those tiles are very thin, and it's very hard to impossible to build up those pieces to the thickness of the wall. As you can see, we have 1/4, 3/8 of an inch difference in the thickness, and those pieces has to go on a solid surface. We cannot put more thin set behind them and just start pushing them, because they will disfigure. There's the nature of the mosaic pieces. So one of the options is to actually build it up, the section behind, with the other tile, let's say thin board or something, and then just install those on top of this extra board or strip or something, so they kind of flash on the surface, because this is the goal, to have this flash. Or you can use those strip pieces, those pencils, to nicely frame the accent. So what will happen, pretty much, the pencil piece will sit nicely here, so the finished surface goes very nicely, continuing here, then turning in a round shape, and this piece actually will go directly on the tile board, making this perfectly flat. And then over here we have also rounded edge. So this piece help us to solve the issue with the difference in thicknesses, plus will give us really outstanding looking frame around the accent that will really make this nice small mosaic tiles stand out and will accent them nicely. So it's not only helpful with installation, but also adds to the look, I would say even a lot. Makes huge difference. So this will be done all over the wall, all the way around the walls. You'll see, I will throw some pictures from that part. Of course, we have to cut all the pencils in 45, and at the edges there will be continuation, so pencil will be cut like that in 45°, and then nice continuation to the vertical piece, and in the corners also 45s. Here 122 on this outside corner, and here we have also 45. We're gonna work on that. We shortening accent for two pieces, to make this fit a little bit better. And yeah, so this is the next step when it comes to the accent, and I will also be working slowly with the niche. On the niche, the very same piece as we have over there will go on the bottom. Like that, and it will frame niche very nicely with the 45-degree cuts over here, and here we're gonna have a flat solid piece, one solid piece of travertine as our shelf, and then another piece separating this in the middle, and this accent tiles 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch on the back of the niche. So still a lot of work. We're moving forward little by little, and this is how it looks like. Alright, so we're getting ready to cut our OG pieces, and the way it's gonna be cut, I'm pretty much measuring from the center, because this grout joint goes through the center of the niche. I'm measuring from this joint to each side, and I'm gonna cut this piece less for 45-degree first, and then shorten to this specific dimension. We have 9 7/8 our size of each of the pieces. So I'm gonna, like I said, cut 45 first, and then measure from the sharp corner 9 7/8. So let's cut the first piece. We have our wet set over here, and have our triangle, square. Do it like that. And now 9 7/8. I'm measuring from the end of the piece. First one, and another one. I'm cutting from other side. So this is how they will go. Alright, so we have our pieces. I'm drying them as I mentioned previously to you. Make sure your tiles, especially stone, is dry, because otherwise it will not bond. So we have those two first pieces cut in 45 at the ends, and what I also did, I cut myself temporary pieces with a 45-degree angle to see actually how it's gonna continue, because we have to create continuation here, and the goal is to have even spacing. So I'm putting this one to the side, and looks like this is exactly what I have to achieve. And I'm also gonna do same test on that side. On that side it looks like it's also gonna work. Some dirt. Yeah, we have nice 45 continuation here. So those pieces I'm gonna use a little bit later as well to cut for certain cuts. But right now I can definitely start putting those pieces. So grabbing first one, I have my roll almost ready. And for that I'm using more precise troll with a 1/4 of an inch notches. And this. So I'm applying thin set not on the entire piece, but just like a halfway down. Because here later our tile will meet, so we cannot put thin set all over the piece. And ensuring that all these edges are pretty clean. Evenly pushing it, and our first piece is in place. Now I'm grabbing the second piece. You want to make sure that they go exactly flat. This is very important. So what you want to do, you want to put some straight edge to ensure that there's no gap in the middle, or those pieces actually are not bumped in that direction, right? So that the piece will not bounce. I can use piece of tile as a straight edge. Looks like everything is nice, but this is not the end of the story, of course. The next step will be to actually check our level and adjust our pieces to our specifications. We want to create small ground space, and I'm using those blue edges that are great for that purpose. I'm ensuring I have level. I'm using this precise torpedo level. Yeah. Everything looks exactly the way it's supposed to. I'm double checking if the side pieces will work the way I'm expecting. Because this is going to be left like this to bond. And we want to make sure that later we have no issues with our continuation. Looks like I have to slide it just a little bit. Okay, that will be very nice. And as I told you here, I left this section with no tin set. So whatever tin set got through this space, I'm gonna remove it, because next step will be for me to put this flat piece, right? And this tin set will be on the way. Will create some issues during this installation. So this is kind of what we do. Right now I'm measuring the flat piece, 17 1/8 of an inch by 4 1/8. So I'm gonna cut this piece 4 1/8 by 17 1/8. And once I will have it, I'm gonna place it here and gonna leave it like that to bond for a while. Alright, so I have our piece cut. I'm kind of checking if it's gonna fit and seems like it's gonna fit nicely. I'm not gonna dip it in this section because it will be hard for me to remove it. What I have a piece of tile, and I'm checking how much I have to build up this piece. Looks like I have about 3/16 of an inch of the thin set that I have to add in order to bring level of the flat piece even with the level of the OG. So this is kind of important because usually there's no turning back when it comes to installation of that part. Because if you screwed up, then you have to remove those pieces to remove that piece and to reset it. So make sure you check how to do it and how much setting component is required. And very essential part, this is supposed to have slope. The way I framed the niche, it already has a slope on the 2x4 that had been waterproofed. But additionally, of course, there will be slope on this piece, so any water will go in that direction. If someone will tell you that slope is not required, don't listen, because you will regret it. Okay. Check it once again. Now I am laying with the thin set here. Okay, so that should be what I need. I hope it's not too much. I really hope it's not too much, because I really would hate to remove those OG pieces. We should be good. Okay, so piece came down very nicely. I'm putting some pressure on the piece, and the goal is to have this flash here with our OG. This is why it's been adjusted nicely in a level. I'm checking with my torpedo for the slope, and looks like I have about 1/8 of an inch plus slope in that direction. You see, this is what you want to achieve. So this part turns out really good. I did it perfect for the first in the first place, and wish you the same. All right, so I'm gonna leave this for now to set, and either later today still or tomorrow I'm gonna work on the back piece that actually will be sitting here, on the side pieces, and those OG pieces that will be done all the way around the niche as a nice frame. So this is several steps project. You cannot tile such niche with a separating piece in the middle right away to do it correctly. Some contractors will do it to finish and move to another project, but it's not the way you should do it. Next step will be for us to work on that axle. Okie doke. So we're starting cutting our pencil pieces. I measured all the pencil pieces, the sizes that I need to have in order to have nice continuation, and I'm starting my cutting from all the angles that are the trickiest. So I noted, I have a note how long the piece is supposed to be. One wall is solid piece less for the 45, and then in the corner also solid piece. Then we have two pieces for 9 3/4, and then we have another 2 solid pieces, less for 45-degree angle on the exterior wall. So we're pretty much cutting this twice because we're gonna put it on the top and on the bottom of the accent. So I'll be cutting each tile twice, pretty much preparing everything nicely for myself for the installation, so I don't have to worry about those cuts later. This is pretty much a repeating process. So, and like I said, I always do continuation. Some contractors will just butter piece against the piece, and then just fill this with a grout to save some time, but trust me, don't do it. So for the square, the blue device is very helpful. First piece, and then another piece. Those are solid pieces for the sides with a 45-degree cutout, 12 inches less for the angle. And when measuring shorter pieces, because we have also some shorter pieces with a cut, I'm cutting the angle first and then just measuring from the sharp longest side and marking what I would like to cut it. So I'm going to work on all those cuts, and we will get to the installation process pretty soon. Right, so what I just cut was our continuation when it comes to framing our accent when we're looking at it. But in the corners, we have a different scenario. We have a little bit different cut. We're not cutting in that direction, but we're cutting pencil in that direction. So for that, instead of cutting like that, I have my piece flat, and those are cuts to the corners. And cutting off 45 here and another piece. I mean, those are same. There's no any difference, so I can cut from the same side. Cutting another one. So they actually continue like that. You see, on the wall, an accent is above it. So this is for the corner. If you have a different angles, measure the angle, mark the angle, and you have to cut in an angle appropriate for you. What I'm doing, I'm pretty much setting those pieces. This is one wall to the corner. Then we have other wall. I'm gonna work on a corner cuts in a few, and then we're gonna have a back wall. So I'm setting everything nicely for myself, so during installation I will have no headaches, no issues, and will not waste precious time. Alright, so we slowly moving forward. Our pieces are here, everything been cut the way I measured. So we're moving forward with installation. Make sure they all dry. I'm using smaller notch in trowel to not make mess, and pretty much attaching first pieces to the side. This line indicates where the accent will finish, because we don't want this type of trim or accent going all the way, because later we have a glass going here, and we want to make sure that the glass sits flat on the surface. So if the accent is slightly recessed, it makes some issues that we have to cut the accent, and it's just no good. So I'm gonna have a solid piece of tile here, so the glass nicely sits on the finished surface, and the accent is gonna be framed over here and return to the corner of the shower. So first piece is in place over here, then the second piece right now, and I'm making sure to push it as far as I can to the point where this rounded edge starts, so it looks nice and clean. And I'm working my way all the way to the corner. Of course, later we are going to level those pieces. I'll show you that as well. So this is how it kind of progresses. Those are solid pieces. So we're getting pretty close to the corner, and of course we want to make sure that they all flash. There's no pieces being recessed deeper or sticking out. So right now we almost at the corner, and I'm gonna show you just the bottom row because the top row is exactly same installation. So you'll be able to figure it out for yourself with not a problems. So the bottom piece already pretty much done, and so this is in place. Actually, I forgot to do something. I forgot that this is actually solid piece. So my mistake. Anyway, before I put this piece, because then we have just one more piece and that's it, right? Before I actually put this last solid piece, because the corner one is cut, I'm gonna work on the corner. I have my piece that is cut in 45, and I will explain you why. Because sometimes it's hard to measure pieces to the corner, to consider thickness of the thin set, to make it look nice. So what I'm doing, I already have this measured to have maximum of solid pieces, and now I'm placing my corner piece. So this piece is in place, and next I'm going to grab the piece that goes on the back wall. This is this piece, shorter piece, that is centered with the back wall. And I'm going to make sure first that our corner is as nice as it can be. Right, it has to kind of follow our corner grout joint. So we want to make sure that it's nice, smooth transition in the corner, and this is where we're focusing. And once we have that, I'm going to measure this distance, and it should be a little bit less than 12 inches, allowing me to put almost solid piece. And this is when when I'm installing that piece. It's 11 and 5/8. So we're going to cut 11 and 5/8. That will look almost like solid piece. No one will ever tell the difference. And I'm going to put this piece. The next will be this corner. I don't have to cut it just yet. I'm going to grab pieces, and here we have a 135-degree angle, so the pieces are cut in slightly different shape. I have this measured, and this is how it's going to be installed. One piece is solid pretty much. This is how it worked out from my measurements. Alright, so our 135-degree angle cuts goes to this corner. So I'm placing the first one over here, and the shortest one, which is the same size as the piece on the other side, of course, of the back wall with a niche, goes nicely over here. See, this is how nicely they meet. So this is the goal, and now I am able to measure this cut. It also should be slightly less than 12 inches, because this is how I have this kind of figured out to not have too big of a gaps. And this one will be 11 and 7/8, right? 11 and 7/8 cut. and our corner is pretty, and our other corner is also very nice. So I'm waiting with those cuts because I'm gonna do those cuts pretty much at the same time. I can definitely move forward from that side and slowly do the same steps over there. I already have first pieces in place. I have a couple more solid pieces to do, and then I will measure our connecting piece that will be slightly shorter, giving me room to play. This is another piece, and now I can measure nicely this piece. Appears that we have exactly solid piece. So I'm gonna put this one here. I'm gonna spread those pieces, create a little bit bigger spaces so it nicely fits, and we will be in a good shape. So it appears that we have only 2 cuts that we have to create for that first row, and I know that the second row will end up exactly the same. So this one goes over here, still playing with the pieces next to it. So once I will have our last cuts, I'm gonna level the accent, because on top of this pencil piece we're gonna have actually our mosaic. So it has to be leveled, so mosaic is leveled and everything is nice and level. So let's cut those 2 pieces and I'll get back to you soon. What often happens, thin set of course gets squashed out through the back of the tile, and we don't want this thin set over here. So before I will start doing final adjustment and leveling to the accent, I'm gonna remove this extra thin set with a chisel with a squared edge to make sure that there's nice flat surface before I actually will place my level, so we don't get messy with this thin set. So this one I'm gonna remove right now and slowly move forward with the leveling, so bear with me. Alright, so the next step before we put our accent is to make sure that our pieces are nicely in level and that I'm creating a little bit of the ground space. Then I'm using those blue wedges. So I'm setting pretty much my accent in nice level. And following this from piece to piece, making sure that we have nice, straight, even surface before we move forward with our accent. This is pretty much how you should do it. Do not just stick those pencil pieces. If you're using them, don't just glue them and then whatever. Make it precise, make it nice. Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be this. I have a shorter level somewhere. So now I am adjusting the wall with an edge. And the last wall will be our another wall, one over here. I'm setting level in the corner, and first I'm bringing this to level closer to the center, This way level sits nicely, and nicely putting those precise wedges where they should go. I almost fell from the step ladder. Okay. Controlling if everything is nice and level. Everything looks good. So the next step, once we have that done, everything been cleaned, will be to install our accent. And one tip, in this case we will be applying setting component on the wall. So what I'm doing, I'm measuring the height of our mosaic. Looks like 10 3/8 is our desired height. 10 3/8. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark line, because I don't want thinset being applied higher than it's supposed to, because later we have to remove it, it gets messy, gets to the small ground spaces in our mosaic pieces. So what I'm marking how far I should go with the setting compound. And what else you can do, you can put masking tape above this mark, and this way you will have even coverage of the setting component all the way to the line without any bumps and uneven sections. Very much continuing all the way around. Same distance. 10 3/8. Okay, so I already applied setting component for now on the back wall and on this side wall, so I can focus on this corner because this is the trickiest corner, and I take, like I told you, the top part, and before I'm installing tiles, I'm removing this tape. It gives us very nice clean edge of setting component to work with. And we're pretty much ready to put first pieces. So I'm going to grab first sheet of those tiles, and I'm going to start from our trick corner. This is, like I said, tricky part of this installation because it has to kind of continue with the corner of our tiles and the corner of our pencil pieces. Okay, looks like this is almost set. I'm pushing this nicely, firmly, to ensure that each little square gets pushed against our flat wall, our flat surface. Especially pieces on the bottom and pieces at the the end, pretty much all the way around, will be the most important, and then of course here. You can use also grout float, but sometimes such mosaic has different dimensions. What it means, some tiles will be slightly thicker than the other ones, and for such applications grout flow is not the best, but in this case we could use grout float. I like to use my hand because I like to feel what I'm doing. Okay, so the first pieces are done. That will go to this corner. Another one will go here. And as you can see, because I did nice edge with the tape, I'm receiving nice clean looking edge of the tile on the top, which makes my installation nice and clean. Okay, I have one little dot that fell out. Okay, putting this nicely in place. Now I'm going to cut this one to the corner, 7 3/8, and I'm going to continue with this wall. First of all, the cut, I'm checking 7 3/8. I won't be able, because the goal is to not really cut those pieces. If we have a small mosaic pieces, especially glass tiles like in this case, this accent is not really meant to be cut, because those pieces get too tiny to precisely adjust them to make them durable. So we playing with those pieces as much as we can to have solid pieces everywhere, just so you know. So here I have 7 and 1/8 spacing, and it also should nicely work what I want to achieve. It's on a mesh, so we can nicely cut it, and this piece actually will go over here, and this will work just fine. Goes enough far to the corner, doesn't have to go all the way. Just make sure that the tiles on that wall will not create gap in the corner. So everything has to kind of look like continuation. This is always a goal with the even grout spaces. Okay, so this one in place, turning out really nice. The next piece goes on that wall over here, and another one. I'm not pushing this all the way just yet, because I want to see how it's going to look like through our edge, with our pencil that we already did. It has to meet with the pencil and in the correct location. Oh, this one is no good. Cut this one short. Some pieces on the side are damaged. Okay, now way better. Okay, so okay, got another piece. Very nice accent. Like I said, combination of stone, onyx. In this case we have onyx, some travertine mixed, and different shades of the glass tiles. Alright, so we have this one here, and the next piece actually has to be cut where our pencil piece starts. Where the glue setting component that we have starts. So I'm measuring 13 and a quarter to this element where the notch starts, cut. 13 and a quarter looks like 13 is my desired size. So what it means, I will have to play with those pieces and divide them, spread them on the ground joints. Thirteen and a quarter. So we have a solid piece. Plus we have this. So what I'm doing actually, I'm creating 13 and a quarter, and I'm cutting this to narrower strips, and I will create a quarter, spreading this on this different, just spreading the ground joints pretty much, a little bit. It will help me to create illusion like everything is perfect. Those pieces are often then hard, like I said, hard to play with and impossible to cut, so we have to many times use tricks of the trade to make them fit, to make them work and look the way they're supposed to. So first piece here. Now I'm gonna put another one and I'm spreading the ground joint a little bit to the point where it will be not noticeable, gaining about 1/16 of an inch in this case on a space, because like I said, we have to kind of stretch the pieces. Now I'm putting this narrow strip of tiles, and I'm also slightly spreading the grout joint, and now I will have to play with the piece next to it. So I'm gonna gently cut it in 3 sections. Again, spreading our grout joints a little bit to lose this 1/4 of an inch gap difference that we have. Looks like we're almost there. Okay, and this connection was made, well, it's already hard to tell, but I can still tell a little bit. So that's it. This is the first part of the accent. That looks really nice. I'm gonna work on the remaining section in a moment, and later I'm gonna do those pencil pieces, so you will see how this is done as well. Here, like I said, you cannot really tell where it's connected and where we actually lost our 1/4 of an inch difference. Corner also turns out really nice. So this is how it goes, this is how we do it. Okay, the next thing that I'm doing, I'm setting my level nicely, and I'm pushing the top edge of our accent against the level to ensure that we have a nice level straight line on top of our mosaic pieces. So I'm shimming also this mosaic tiles from from underneath a little bit to make sure it is nice, straight and leveled. It's pretty okay already. But this is another part of such project, because otherwise our top pencil will be crooked and it will show that our accent is not right. Okay, working on a continuation for our accent, and I have these pieces here on the sides that frames it on from the sides, also in 45 as you can see, and they're gonna continue like we did the bottom all the way around. In the meantime, I finished our shelf, tiling around the opening for the shelf for the niche, so everything progresses pretty nicely, focusing on an accent. This one has to be in level. The next step will be our final rolls all the way to the ceiling, and as I mentioned previously, I'm always waiting for accent and for this transition piece, pencil piece, to nicely bond, because quite a bit of weight will be sitting on top of those pieces. We have 18 by 18 large format tiles, and then we have one more piece, more than a half of the tile going to the ceiling. So make sure to do it in stages, because otherwise entire accent will get disfigured because of the weight of the tiles. And regardless what type of accent you do, if it's mosaic, it has to bond, dry, before you put pieces above it.